Welcome back to Melanin in Medicine. This video is going to focus on kind of like a recap of my first year. I realized since I started this YouTube series a little late, you guys didn't really get to see me glow up during my first year. So I'm kind of just going to give you guys a little recap and tell you guys a little bit about my experiences going through the first year of medical school. All right, let's get started. So, first things first, schoolwork. It was hard. Like, it was hard. And, people tell you that. So, people who have gone through med school, people who have gone through their first year of medical school, who realize how steep the learning curve is, they give you that advice early on when you're interested in applying to medical school, that first year is going to be hard because it's a lot of information coming at you. And I knew that. I knew that going in. It's just, you don't know until you know, but you don't know until you're really in it and you learn. And so, yeah, it was hard. But for me, it was hard because it was the idea of juggling this schoolwork with friends, with involvement, with sleep, with wellness. Oh my god, wellness. We'll get to that a little later in the video, but it was the idea of juggling all of these things and still trying to maintain good grades that made the first year of med school hard for me. But that's not to say I didn't do well. So I came in with the goal that I wasn't going to get below a 90 in any course during my first year, and I was able to keep that goal. So I ended up doing pretty well in my first year. And that's due to the kind of study techniques that I picked up during my post-bac program. That post-bac program helped me grasp every part of my life. I got my life when I went through that post-bac program. Friends. So when you come in, it's kind of intimidating because you hear all these things about how, oh, med school is so cutthroat and it's so competitive, and you don't know if you can trust people, and you don't know if people are willing to share, and everybody's a gunner, and blah, blah, blah. And then you get to med school and you start and you realize it's not really like that. I mean, some schools might have that ultra competitive kind of atmosphere, but my school was definitely very collaborative. Everybody was so willing to work with each other, and then likewise with a lot of my friends who go to schools across the country. So I have friends who tell me that it's pretty cool at their school. There's a Dropbox for everything. Everybody's so outgoing, and everybody just wants to, be cool with everybody. And it's the same thing when I was on my interview trail. So I would hear from the students who were already at the school while I was interviewing, telling me that, it's pretty collaborative where we're at. Nobody's really out for any one person or anybody, and everybody just wants to do well, and in order to do well, they said they just had to work with each other, and that sounded good to me, and that's what my school was able to give me. And so going off of that, I found that finding a good group of friends was major key in order for me to be successful. Why is that? So these are the people that you're basically going to be killing yourself with for the next 4 years, just trying to, grind it out. And so it's good to know that they're the same group of people that you can hang out with regularly, that you can study with regularly, that have similar interests as you, but are different enough that you can learn from. And that's what I was able to find in my first year. And honestly, I love my friends to death. I love them. If you guys are watching, love you, mean it. So definitely finding a good group of friends was definitely a big part of my success during the first year. Involvement. So I definitely took my first year to try and get pretty involved. People typically recommend is that you add things on slowly as you feel comfortable, and essentially that is what I did. But I don't know, I felt comfortable earlier on in the year to be able to take on a good amount of things. But I mean, for my second year, I think I'm gonna cut back a little bit, just because I don't want to get too crazy and then, not meet my study work goals, not meet my grade goals. So I got involved in SGA. I was elected co-class president of my first year class, and I'm happy to say I will be continuing on in the second year as co-class president, hashtag 2 terms. Um, what else? I definitely got involved in our free clinic program. So a lot of schools have this thing where they run free health clinics in their community, and it's pretty cool because what you get to do is you get to serve the underrepresented population in your area, and it's cool because you get to see different subsets of that population. Our school had about 5 clinics and they served different subsets. We had a clinic for battered women and children, a clinic for men with chronic diseases, a clinic for men who are recovering substance abusers, and there are 2 more clinics. So we have it was a lot of different options, and it was great to be able to see all the different subsets of an underrepresented population. I thought that was pretty cool. And I tried to get involved regularly, but these clinics, as you may find out or as you already know, are very popular. For our school, we had a lottery that you had to sign up through, and you may or may not have gotten a slot for that week. But it was great, and if you are a first year or you're going to be a first year, I highly recommend trying to get involved in your community's free health clinic if they have one. I was also involved with tutoring. I just tutored in a lot of the upper level division science courses, and I loved it. I've always liked teaching people, and I plan on adding academia to my, roster of things that I do later on in life. Mentoring. I was involved in a mentoring and pipeline program in my first year, and I do like mentoring. I've been mentoring peers and young children since undergrad, and I find it really meaningful work to do. I will say it was definitely hard for me to keep my engagements with the mentoring program because of other obligations that I had, but I liked it, and I'm hoping to do more with mentoring in the future. I've worked with high schools and elementary schools that bring students to our school and have them go through like the growth lab or go through like the sim center, and I find that a lot of fun. And when I see kids doing those kinds of activities, it's like, wow, this is so cool. I get to like have a hand in maybe, inspiring them to continue on in medicine. Of course, shadowing. I'm pretty set on pediatrics, but I know that you gotta play the field and all that good stuff, and you might change your mind. So I did try to shadow so I can get some idea of other specialties that are out there. I'll also say that I kind of cheated and pretty much only shadowed different pediatric subspecialties. I tried. I really did try, you guys. I really did try. I just keep coming back to peds. I really like peds. But we'll see. You're going to see me in 4 years and I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I decided I'm going to be OB-GYN or something. I don't know. But yeah, I did do a good amount of shadowing in the first semester. I kind of tapered off a little bit during my second semester as certain clubs were starting to elect for leadership, so I was trying to transition into those roles. I got involved with SNMA, that is the Student National Medical Association. I definitely got involved. They held a lot of events and I was always there, And I'm definitely gonna continue to be involved during my second year. I have a position on e-board for my chapter, and then I have a position on our regional executive committee. And then lastly, I was a student ambassador. So that just means like a first year tour guide basically for the interviewees. So when they come in, you kind of get a group of interviewees and you guys walk around the school, talk about the different aspects of the school, what your experiences are like going here. And I was okay involved. I wasn't like, founding nonprofits or anything, which, if that's what you do, all the power to you. That's bomb. That's so amazing. But I'm just a regular schmegula girl trying to make it. So anytime there was an opportunity to get involved, I tried to seize it. So visiting the surrounding area. So I'm originally from South Jersey, which I mentioned in my first video. But the thing about South Jersey is that there really isn't anything to claim in the state, so we claim all things Philly. So when I actually moved out into the the city, like the Philly area, it wasn't anything new. So I mean, I've taken trips to Philly growing up, and I've, done fun things in the city. So there wasn't much exploration for me to do. But that being said, I didn't get out as much as I would have liked to. So Philly's pretty cool in that even though it's not New York and it's not DC, it's 2 hours away from either city, and there's always something to do. We have our food scene, and we have street festivals. There were like a lot of street festivals that I wanted to go to that I just didn't go to because I prioritized studying over doing fun things, or prioritize Netflix over doing fun things. Well, Netflix is a fun thing, but I prioritize studying, Netflix, and sleep over, getting out and exploring the city. And then lastly, wellness. So this year was just bad. It was just bad. One of the major downfalls of this year was that I gained a lot of weight. I think the problem was that I prioritized acing my classes over my general wellness. Coming into med school, I was really active. So I was in the gym maybe 4 to 5 times a week. I meal prepped like nobody else. I was on my game. And it was mostly because in undergrad I had come from losing about 70 pounds, and I was just trying to maintain that. But once I started med school, I just let all of that go, and I paid the price for that. So I gained, I would say, about 35 pounds during my first year. I stopped going to the gym. I stopped preparing all of my meals. I was ordering out every day, every meal, because it was just so convenient. But fortunately, I turned it around back in March, and I've been on a good path ever since. And I've been getting back into the gym. Son, when I tell you I'm back on my meal prep game, I'm back on my meal prep game. Like, it's just, whew. And fortunately for me, I've been able to lose about 15 pounds since starting back in March. And honestly, I'm just trying to get back to my white coat weight and then some. So we'll see. Pray for me, y'all. Just let us pray. Let us pray. So all in all, first year treated me pretty well, besides like the wellness part. I came out with really good grades. I made a lot of amazing close friends. Like when I when I say I love these people, like I sincerely mean it. I was able to get involved and stay involved. I didn't see Philly the way I wanted to, and I let myself go pretty literally in terms of wellness. But I'm really trying to get back on the wagon, and I'm really excited for what second year is going to bring. So stick with me, y'all, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.